Call the Nashville Town Council meeting to order for February the 4th. Would you please stand for the pledge and the prayer? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we invite you to this meeting tonight to lead and guide us to make the right decisions. Give us your wisdom and your knowledge in making the right decision for all the citizens of Nashville. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
Before we start, I would like to hear a motion from the council to add an item to the new business as A, the retirement, the K-9 retirement. Do I hear a motion?
I make that motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you so much. At this time, the first item on our agenda is the approval of our minutes. Did anyone find any corrections that needed to be made to our minutes? If not, do I hear a motion to approve the minutes of our last meeting?
Mayor, being no corrections, I move to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, let it be known by saying
Aye.
Aye.
motion carries. No one signed up for public comments. People that signed up was for the public hearing for land uses, so we'll continue until we get to the land uses and then the public hearing, and then we'll hear from you. The first item on our item is old business, the PRCR board appointment. Coy?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. So we have an advisory board appointment tonight for our Parks and Rec Advisory Board, and we're joined by Kiana Walston, who's sitting here up front. Kiana has served one term on our advisory board, which ended December 31st, 2024, and we are asking the council to appoint her to another two-year term that ends January 1 of 2027. And like I said, Kiana has been on our board for 2 years. We appreciate all of her input and her willingness to serve the town in that capacity. She comes to us with a wealth of knowledge in municipal government, and her son also participates in a lot of our programs and has for a couple of years. So we appreciate all of her help as we continue to build and grow the department.
Thank you, and thank you, Kiana, for being willing to serve on that board. Do I hear a motion that we approve this on nomination to the PRCR Advisory Board?
I make that motion.
Second.
All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next item on our agenda is the Project Sprout rezoning.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. As always, it's truly an honor to speak to you in the walls of the Nashville Town Council. I was looking at our agenda, and I think I just need to pull the chair up over here and stay for a little while, because the next 4 or 5 items all have to deal with land use and planning in the town of Nashville. That was a joke. You're supposed to laugh.
Oh, okay.
Our first one we have this afternoon is we tabled this one last month. It is for Project Sprout Rezoning with Mr. Will Carnegie with WEK LLC and Right Revival LLC. As you can know, last month we discussed this. Mr. Carnegie is asking to rezone those two properties off of Cook Road from I-1 to CZNR, conditional zoning, non-residential, to accommodate the multiple land use the applicant is proposing for the property, which include agriculture, agritourism, aquaculture, commercial, education, entertainment, industrial, recreation, retail, and short-term lodging. We went through the application last month, so I feel like there's no need to go back into the application. We could just pick back up on defining the facts and then get to the reason why I believe majority of our people here tonight to speak at the public hearing council if anybody signed up. If you look at the property, it is on I-1. Mr. Carnegie is asking for it to be rezoned CZNR, conditional zoning, non-residential. It is two properties. The first property is lot 1. It's parcel 315263. It does not have an address assigned to it yet. The other one is lot 336591, lot 2. And if we look at our proposed zoning uses of what Mr. Carnegie is asking for this evening, we'll start right there. That'll be your page 45 in your package. He resubmitted a list that rezoned some of the uses from the initial list, so he did go back and take some time to consider what he thought would be prominent to do right now in the first phases of this conditional rezone non-residential. What Mr. Carnegie is asking for this afternoon, his conditional zone non-residential, is storage of goods indoor and outdoor, a theater, amphitheater, outdoor. All of these are grouped as one, so we have them all in one line. Banquet hall, convention center, meeting retreat, and conference center. All of those are one use under one line. Community center, short-term rentals, host and non-host occupied, health personal care facility, eating, drinking establishments, museum, club, and lodge, vocational school, farmers market, produce sale, farm supply store, greenhouse operation, wholesale operation, greenhouse on premise sale, animal feed preparation, manufacturing, manufacturing, assembly, processing, and distribution, warehousing, microbrewery, winery, distillery, manufacturing, food, assembly, processing, and seafood preparation, packing, and distribution, recreation facility, outdoor and park. And if you do not have a copy, Town Manager Lanston, we did provide some copies for the citizens to have to go along with us. So those are the uses if you like one. Town Manager Lanston does have one. Description of the subject property is 35.24 acres of undeveloped tract land owned by the town of Nashville and located off Cook Road in Nashville, primarily in our industrial I-1 zoning district within the town of Nashville town limits. This site is located beside commercial buildings and residential. Second property is 3.13 acres of undeveloped tract of land owned by the town of Nashville and is located off Cook Road and Commerce Street in Nashville, primarily in the industrial I-1 zoning district within the town of Nashville town limits. The site is located beside commercial buildings and residential across the street from it. As you can see, we had it up, that's a comparison of the map. If we go to page 49, well, let's go to page 48 first, and then we'll go to 49. What we did on page 48 was we listed all the uses in our table of permitted uses in the town of Nashville that you can do in the industrial I-1 zoning district, outright permitted. So these are things that could happen right now. If an applicant came into the town, applied for a permit, went through a TRC, gave us an engineer scale site plan, we reviewed it, we passed TRC. This is what we could give all of them right now with a zoning permit. You can start with feed mills, greenhouse, wholesale, on-premise sales, stables, commercial, processing facility, bus passenger shelter, and that would be approved with some additional standards they would have to comply by. Bus terminal and garage, motor vehicle maintenance, same thing. That was approved with some additional standards they would have to abide by in our ordinance. Motor vehicle repair and maintenance, both of those have additional standards they would have to abide by. Postal and parcel delivery, convenience store with fuel pump sales, same thing, additional standards. Transportation terminals, passengers only, and freight or merchandise only. Number 48, ready. Transportation term, we just said that. Elementary, middle school, high school, performing arts, sports, recreation, university and college, same thing, additional standards in the town ordinance they have to abide by. Vocational trade, tech skill training, extracted land uses, those will be granted by a special use permit by a board of adjustment. So they will have to come before the board of adjustment and evidentiary quasi-judicial hearing. If it did pass the board of adjustment, then we could grant special use permit. Government land use, additional standards. Detention center and prisons, additional standard. Military installation, armories, additional standards. Manufacturing, assembly, processing, and distribution uses, additional standards. Animal feed preparation, manufacturing, packing, and distribution, additional standards. Distilleries, microbreweries, tobacco processing, preparation, packing, and distribution, winery, manufacturing, assembly, processing, distribution uses, chemical manufacturing, processing, pharmaceutical and medicine, concrete processing, preparation, distribution, converted paper product manufacturing, assembly, and processing, fireworks manufacturing and assembly and processing, leather and hide, tanning and fishing, metal fabrication shop, paperboard containers and boxes, manufactured assembly and processing, printing, research facility with manufacturing, those will have additional standards. And you can also do it without manufacturing with no additional standards. Sawmills, additional standards. Veterinary clinic or hospital, building trades and contract office with outdoor storage, without outdoor storage, no additional standards, with outdoor storage, some additional standards. A park, recreational facility, indoor and outdoor, additional standards. Shooting range, indoor and outdoor, additional standards. Retail land use, additional standards. Service land use, car wash, crematorium, funeral home, garden center, junk salvage yard, additional standards. Kennel boarding and grooming service, additional standards. Petroleum product storage and distribution. Storage of goods, indoor and outdoor, page 49, additional standards. Taxidermy, warehousing. Telecommunication facilities, co-location antennas. Those big antennas we see for cell phones. You really don't see those agricultural zone additional standards. Elevated water tower, storage tank, additional standards. Solar facility, accessory to principal use, additional standards. Utility public major, additional standards. Landfill, construction, land clearing, debris, sanitary waste management transfer station, approved with additional standards. Hazardous waste facilities, special use permit, they would have to come by the Board of Adjustments. If the Board of Adjustments approved that permitted use, then we could issue them a permit. Wholesale trade land uses. So those are not the use that he is asking for, but these are everything in our I-1 zoning district that we could give this person, if it was a manufacturing plant, anybody, a permit, and we could not turn them down. Just want to go there for the sake of the record, and also have it in the record for the minutes. Project history. We LLC as applicant requested this rezone at 38.37 acres above at the said location. Rezone application was received on December 16. If you go down, but that's all we did for the first one. Let's go to let's start at number 10. The subject property is not located within a floodplain. The subject property is not located in the Stony Creek watershed, Upper Stony Creek sub watershed. The subject property is not located within the NCDQ water supply watershed. The project will probably be provided with water and sewer through the town of Nashville. Town of Nashville Planning Board met on January 6, 2025. That evening, Board Member Dennis Evans made a motion to approve the rezoning request with the detailed statement consistently provided by the staff. The motion was seconded by Board Member Ross Strickland. The motion passed unanimously vote. Town Council Nashville held a public hearing on this matter the same evening on January the 7th, and they tabled this matter to February 4th, 2025. That's why we're here this evening. That evening, at that town council meeting, we had 5 individuals speak against the rezoning. Hope Edwards, 1284 Cook Road. Lanny Danforth, 420 Cook Road. Mike Jones, 520 Cook Road. Virginia Brzezinski, 400 East Church Street. Also another unnamed gentleman that we could not get his information. He forgot to sign up. On January the 7th, 2025, the public hearing notice was mailed out to 39 property owners within a 500-foot radius. And we did some additional property owners on Elkin Smith Road. That's not even in the town ETJ, but we thought it'd be cordial to send them an invitation to come out due to how big of an impact this request could be that they may want to come out this evening. Announcement was made that evening at that town council by the planning director and the council. This matter will be heard again on February 4th, 2025 at 7 p.m. in town council chambers. January 16, 2025, town manager Lansing, planning director Lucas, and economical development Nash County Representative Susan Phelps did meet with Mr. Carnegie to review this conditional zone application one more time. Mr. Carnegie held a public outreach meeting at Nash County Ag Center on January 3rd, 2025 from 6 to 8. If we go back to 2013, and I'm getting ready to yield to the council and step out of your way so that we can let the fine citizens of Nashville that have signed up allot them time to speak. But if we go back to 2013, September 25th, 2013, let's go back to that date. The property that evening was rezoned from A1 to light industrial with a unanimous vote by the council. 2013, on that day, they only sent out 12 recipients for mail. And I take it back in 2013, they only sent out 12 recipients for mail for that rezoning because this subdivision had not been built. So we can see why there's been an increase of numbers for mailing. But Mayor, that is the project history for this conditional rezoning. Mr. Carnegie and his team is here. I believe he has a gentleman from Stocks Engineering who will be representing him tonight. We can get them up front before we open up the public hearing, but I would like to go over the development conditions one more time with the council before I yield to the citizens and to Mr. Carnegie's team. Your development conditions are right here in that packet with the other uses that we provided you this evening. The subject property shall be developed in accordance to the approved site plan of all applicable requirements of the Town of Nashville zoning ordinance. The subject property may be developed with these uses only: storage of goods indoor and outdoor, theater, amphitheater outdoor, banquet hall, convention center, meeting retreats, and a conference center, community center, short-term rentals, host and non-host occupied, health and personal care facilities, eating and drinking establishments, a museum, club and lodge, vocational school, farmers market, produce sale, farm supply store, greenhouse operation, wholesale operation, greenhouse on-premise sale, animal feed preparation manufacturing, manufacturing assembly, processing and distribution, warehousing, microbrewery, winery, distillery, manufacturing, food assembly, processing, and seafood preparation, packing, and distribution, and finally, recreational facility outdoor park. Any new uses should be subject to come back before the Town of Nashville Planning Board and the Town Council for approval vote through the amendment processing of conditional rezoning. Significant or substantial modification or revision to the approved site plan may require additional review by the Town of Nashville TRC Technical Review Committee and the Town of Nashville Planning Board, as well as a reapproval vote by the Town of Nashville Town Council at the discretion of the planning director or his designee. The applicant must also abide by Section 24.4, which is in our general ordinance of the Town of Nashville. Noise, where it states unreasonable loud noise and disturbing noise shall not be allowed between the hours of 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. Of course, that's already in our general ordinance. We just put that down because Mr. Cornegi was asking for outdoor amphitheater. The conditional zoning map amendment shall be invalid unless and until the practitioners consent in writing to the attached development conditions. So even if we approve this tonight, Mr. Cornegi does not have to accept these conditions until he signs, so it will not be valid until he signs a statement in writing saying he accepts the development conditions. One last thing, Mayor, is we did have a certification notice to property owners, and we'll read that for the record this evening to go in the minutes. And it states, I, Sean Lucas, Plan Director, do hereby certify to Town Council of the Town of Nashville that the property owners indicated on the attached list were mailed a notice of public hearing on the proposed zoning map amendment described below, CZR 2024-03. The notice was sent out by first-class mail at least 10 days prior to the date of public hearing and was sent to the owners of the subject lot as well as the budding property owners. Mayor, that's what I have this evening, Council. You do have a copy of every property owner that was notified for this hearing, the 39 that were notified for this hearing. As we said, there were a few that was out of our ETJ limit that we decided to notify just for the sake of this hearing. I will yield to you, Mayor. You can call up Mr. Cornegi and his team, and then we can go in, we can open up the public hearing format to call up Mr. Cornegi and his team, and then we can yield to the fine citizens of Nashville to come speak if they have anything for or against.
Okay.
Mayor, I yield to you and the council.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Mr. Carnegie, could you?
Good evening, Ms. Mayor and members of the Town Council.
Good evening.
Thank you, Mr. Lucas, for just a great presentation so far of the history of the project and where we are. My name is Andrew Stocks from Stocks Engineering. Our address is 801 East Washington Street in Nashville, North Carolina, 27856. And I'm representing Mr. Cornegi and the Ripe Revival Innovation Center, also known as Project Sprout, tonight. I know Mr. Carnegie has been discussing with you, town staff and economic development, this project for a while. He's also hosted a neighborhood meeting to discuss the project and his business and just what their vision is with the citizens of the town that were on the mailer list that was sent out. So we're not going to go into a lot of the details of his business or his company tonight, as I think he shared a lot of that. My role will be more to stick to the facts of the case and facts of the property, and just to present that information to you tonight. If you have any additional questions, Mr. Carnegie is here to answer them, or I can answer any more from a technical engineering side. The property is located, as Mr. Lucas mentioned, off of Cook Road. The whole project will be in the industrial park on both sides of the road. The rezoning request is specific to the north side, the 38 acres there. The whole site will have some access off of Cook Road, access from Commerce Drive, so both of those entrances will be utilized to the site. And like Mr. Lucas mentioned, the industrial park was purchased by the town in 2013 and was rezoned that same year to the industrial zoning. I know Mr. Lucas mentioned there were 39 different people that were mailed letters. Just according to our research on GIS, there were I think it was 33 that were either adjacent on Cook Road or within the 500 feet. So we do believe this has been advertised well above the wishes of the board. We did also just note that the general statutes of the state of North Carolina only require adjacent properties to be noted, and as a request of the Nashville Town Council, that was extended to the 500 feet, and Mr. Lucas included more just because of the nature of the project and where it's located. And I have a copy of that general statute if we need to look at that, but I think we're beyond that. It also, just from what we looked at, it looks like there were 13 of those 33 that we looked at, and only 3 of the adjacent property owners that did own their property before the property was purchased by the town and zoned industrial. So about 13 of those 39 or 33 on our count owned their property prior to this being an industrial park or a property is zoned industrial. Like Mr. Lucas mentioned, the existing zoning is I-1 industrial. The proposed zoning is a conditional zoning for the multiple uses that were listed. There are currently 55 or more uses that are allowed under the current zoning, and those range from anywhere from a place of worship to freight transportation terminals, concrete processing, petroleum storage and distribution, and some other less desirables with approval that we are certainly not asking for to be on the property. The requested zoning includes 28 or so specific uses that are broken down into the 10 main categories that Mr. Lucas mentioned. I think the goal of putting them in categories is to just make it easier for conversation for people to understand kind of what the goal and the intent is. The specific uses are also listed, and those uses were discussed in the neighborhood meeting as well as gone over by Mr. Lucas just a few minutes ago. I think there's 13 uses that overlap between the current zoning and the proposed request of the conditional rezoning. The additional uses that are outside of those 13 are less industrial in nature and are targeted to help facilitate the relationship between the public and the agricultural practices. That's one of the biggest visions that Mr. Carnegie and Ripe Revival has for this campus, is to bring people into what that agricultural process looks like and just to give them a connection to the land, a connection to the process, and be a part of it going from the ground all the way to the market, to the table, where it can be consumed as well. So I will not continue to read the list again of what is proposed, but we can if you would like to do that. The site, just on the drainage and environmental kind of perspective, the site drains to the north and the south, and any stormwater runoff will be designed according to the state's criteria, which the town of Nashville has a local stormwater program. The site will comply with that program to mitigate any stormwater runoff, to reduce the potential effect to any neighboring properties. Mr. Lucas also mentioned this, that there is no floodplain mapping on the property. It's really not even near this property. And then the stormwater policy will be in full force for this development and will require this property to meet or reduce the stormwater runoff from this site for the designated storm events listed in the state's criteria and the local ordinances. Therefore, the current policies that the town has in place will address any flooding concerns, any environmental stormwater runoff for the adjacent neighboring properties and all areas downstream of this site. The proposed development, once designed, will be subject to the North Carolina Department of Transportation for its driveway connections with their review and approval. The town works with the Department of Transportation during the review process with a trip generation chart to calculate the number of trips that will be generated by the proposed uses. If those trips per day include or trigger a traffic impact analysis, the town staff and DOT will work with a third-party consultant engineer who will perform that TIA. And then any recommendations in that TIA will be a condition of approval of the construction drawings for the developer, in this case, Mr. Carnegie, and the Ripe Revival Innovation Center. During construction, they will be required to improve any off-site turn lanes, stoplights, I mean, anything, roundabouts, we hope not, but it could happen. Anything that they require would be a requirement of the developer to install as a part of that construction drawing process. Again, that's something that comes during construction drawings that would be reviewed and approved by the town staff prior to construction approval. The property will be served by both public water and sewer. There's currently an existing lift station at the industrial park that we would feed our gravity sewer into. The sewer is currently pumped from the industrial park into town and then ultimately through the outfall to the City of Rocky Mount wastewater treatment plant. So they will treat the wastewater for us. The site will likely contain a natural sand filter for the treatment of any water used to rinse and wash the produce prior to its processing. That will be a natural sand filter that will release the water back into the ground where it came from. And then any discharge or sediment that's collected in a sand trap, that will be reapplied to the fields as a standard agricultural practice. So that will be an addition to the water and sewer that's not used for, or that's used for produce will return back to the environment where it came from, and that is with natural treatment. It has not been conducted at this point, but an environmental analysis of the site will be required to be performed, as it's likely there are some potential wetlands in the rear of the property. There's a pond located on the property, so we'll have to have those just environmentally sensitive features studied and analyzed, and that will be performed again prior to construction. They will be avoided in accordance with the state and federal law, and any mitigation will be required as with any impacts. The neighborhood meeting that Mr. Lucas mentioned was held on January 30th at the Nashville Ag Center. In this meeting, the attendees had the opportunity to hear from Mr. Cornigi about his business, about what his vision is, about his goals for the property. And then they had the opportunity to address their concerns or discuss their concerns of the project. Some specific items that were discussed in greatest detail were the amphitheater, the brewery, the traffic, and the retail portions of the property or the site. Mr. Cornigi is the founder and CEO of Ripe Revival. He can make some decisions, but he also has different stakeholders, funding partners, and development agreements that he's required to stick to as a part of this development. So he can make some decisions tonight if we need to discuss the removal of any options, but some items we may have to say we need to go back to those stakeholders or development agreements before any final decisions could be made. If we do want to do that, I would consult with Mr. Cornigi to determine if he has the right to make those decisions tonight. Following the neighborhood meeting, we did meet and discuss different options that we could try to address the concerns that the neighbors presented. The first I'll mention is with the amphitheater. I know that was a big concern. We looked at options to reduce the impact to the community by converting that potentially to an indoor amphitheater. We talked about adding some just additional sound walls, whether that's a landscape buffer, different berms. We talked about a solid sound wall that could be added. We also talked about changing the orientation of the stage as an option to do that. We are unable to remove that at this time, but are committed to working through the concerns of the neighbors at this meeting and in the future as we continue with our design process. That was a commitment we made to the neighbors at the meeting, was to continue to hear their thoughts and work with them to address their concerns as we continue with the design. I think you'll remember when the town of Nashville did the Nashville Junction project that included an outdoor stage amphitheater. There was a sound study that was done by a sound engineer that analyzed the direction that stage could be faced to have the least impact to the neighbors that were concerned about it in that area. So that's another option that we could look at, is inviting a sound engineer in to give us the best orientation from a sound perspective that would have the least impact on the neighbors in that community. Another concern that was brought up was the residents asked about the value of their properties and houses. As an engineer, I'm not an expert in any sort of appraisal or real estate, but we do believe that the proposed uses being less industrial in nature than what is currently allowed in the industrial zone would be more favorable to the community than the property remaining as an industrial zone as it currently is. Another concern or just question that was brought up was about the timeframe for development. The project will be built in multiple phases, beginning with the processing facility on the south side of the road, which is not part of this rezoning, as it will fit within the light industrial zoning on that side of the road. We do, if with approval and beginning to move forward the construction drawings, we would like to see construction of that within the year, and then moving across Cook Road to the north side with the education innovation building likely being in the second phase of the project. Other concerns presented at the neighborhood meeting regarding the wetlands, flooding, traffic. We've kind of talked about those previously in our presentation about how they will be addressed with DOT or other environmental studies before the construction drawings will be completed and approved. And then we will just be within the regulation of the town ordinance and all applicable construction drawing processes. So I'll pause here. I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have for me at this time. I would also reserve the right to address the council again after hearing from the public, if that is amenable to you guys. And then we can also have Mr. Carnegie here if you have any questions directly for him. We do appreciate your consideration for rezoning, and we would appreciate your vote for approval tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, do I hear a motion for us to go and open a public hearing to hear from the citizens?
So move.
Second.
All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
When I call your name, come up and state your name and your address. You will have 3 minutes. And remember, this is about the land uses only for this property. So the first person, and if you came in late and you didn't get on the list, we'll let you say what you need to say at the end. Tim Cook.
Good evening.
Good evening.
And I'd just like to state that,
State your address.
649 Cook Road.
Thank you.
And where I live at is directly in front of where he's talking about putting the amphitheater, the retail store, and the food hall. I live right across the road, me and my brother. And I would just like to, I don't know if you're gonna pass it or where you ain't, but I would like you to take into consideration, if you do, could they use the Commerce Street to come around, and you keep talking about buffers and all this kind of stuff, put a row of trees on the ditch bank in front of my house, and maybe, so I ain't got to sit there and look at it. I mean, you know.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing.
I mean, you know, I was, like I say, I've lived there for 63 years, and I thought I was gonna retire there, and it was gonna be my quiet little home. It's not much, but it's all I got. But I just hope that y'all will take the neighbors and the neighborhood into consideration, because I think we got a nice, quiet community, and I don't think there's nobody that lives on that road that wouldn't help the other. And I just want to thank you.
Thank you so very much. Jordan Jackson.
Hey there, I'm actually a resident of Momire. I'm representing farmland at the corner of Erkin Smith and Old White Oak Road. And
Did you state your address?
3970 US 64A, Nashville.
Okay, gotcha.
All right. As far as the land use of this, I just have, we have some concerns, you know, traffic study, waste and removal of produce packing and packaging is going to go on. Focus on the land use and how it will affect the properties nearby. That's been said several times, but we just want to come support our neighbors. We don't have a resident on the land I'm representing, but all of our neighbors, we know a lot of the people that live around this land, and we want to support them and their homes and Mike and Hope's livelihood. So just wanted to bring up, certainly would like to hear more about traffic study, waste removal study, what's going to happen in those type manufacturing packing facility.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Jetta Pinckney.
Hello,
Hey,
my name is Jetta Pinkney. I reside at 552 Cook Road. We've been residing there since 2013, and we've enjoyed our quiet neighborhood. We're concerned about the noise. That's our number one concern. The traffic, we have grandchildren that likes to play. We're concerned about increase in traffic. We've heard that, it won't be a problem, but I'm sure it will be an increase in trucks bringing loads of products to the new facility and everything. But we planned on this being our retirement home. Like it was stated before, all of our neighbors, seem to get along with each other. We're just hoping that you consider us when you decide to vote on rezoning this in favor of no, because we don't want it here. We like the idea. We think he's doing a great job, but we just do not want it in our backyard. So please consider us when you decide to vote.
thank you. Next is Kay Walker.
Can I speak on my sister's behalf?
Yes, but you have to come up
I
and state.
understand.
Okay, that'll be fine. State your name and your address.
I'm probably unprepared for class, but I'll give it a shot.
That's fine. You have 3 minutes.
My name is J.R. Smith. I live at 1309 Erkin Smith Road. My property, and also subsequently it was my sister's property. Our family has owned the property adjoining the back side of where the manufacturing facility is going to be. It actually butts up to the property line, and I notice that behind the drawing shows that there is a wastewater pool, looks like a retention basin, and also it's wastewater and stormwater. Behind that area, I believe is what the gentleman was talking about, being a wetlands. And as gravity goes, that water going into the water table will probably seep right into that tributary of Saponi Creek. They're going through a sand filter. I guess it'll all be good, but it'll be a volume of water that's introduced into that area that's already pretty wet. So I'm just concerned that it's going to affect the water table. That tributary continues on over past Elm Grove Church into a tributary that goes into Saponi Creek. Just a concern that it will affect that part of the environment. I don't know. Just saying.
Thank
Okay,
you.
that's all I got.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
David and Lauren Green.
David Green, 1374 Erkin Smith Road. Actually didn't know I was signing up to talk, but I'm happy to talk because I have an opinion. So, yeah, this is a rural, a rural neighborhood. There is an amphitheater less than a mile away, already in operation. So I see that as unnecessary. I see that the traffic, wastewater, and manufacturing at that facility would negatively impact the neighbors. I'm adjacent to that. I don't live right on Cook Road, but I do appreciate the farming that's done there by Mike and Hope Edwards, and I do appreciate the quiet and less traffic. The traffic would also spill onto, would invariably affect Erkin Smith Road. So I would also say that noise pollution, light pollution, would negatively impact the neighbors on that road, also causing additional wear and tear on the roads, any of the treatment for water, and I'm sure that there would be water taken out of the water table as well. So we're all on wells out there, so we don't actually understand fully how that would impact our own properties. I have livestock as well. So I would request that you vote no.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Edward Smith.
My name is Edward Smith, 1178 Old Bailey Highway in Nashville. I'm kind of learning about this a little late, my fault. But I do agree with what people were asking and questioning. As far as processing plants, how much water will they be needing? And will we supply the water or what? That would be one of them. Animal feed being processed there. That's dangerous, to my knowledge. And I don't know about a sand filter and stuff like that. The traffic study, that would definitely need to be addressed. It's curvy, it's small, and it would almost have to be widened. Whose property would that take? Because of those big trucks coming in there, they got, if they're making it there, they got to get it out. Not to mention the process. The stuff that's going. The wetlands, if you're going to put stuff on those wetlands, I don't know much about the stocks and engineering and stuff like they do. But back in and when I was black-headed, we put tile in the ground so we could farm it, long time ago. If they have something like that in mind, now who would pay for that? Would that be Mr. Carnegie or who? Anyhow, I'm confused, and I was here to hear this and to see that. My land adjoins the backside of his, where all those houses are. That property that has nothing in it, that is mine. And we do enjoy the quietness. And when it was rezoned industrial, I made no stink because I thought, well, they'll be closing at 5 and we'll back have our nights again of quietness. This is starting to change. Again, I think an amphitheater 2 in Nashville is a little bit much. I would recommend, with my little self, voting no for this.
Thank you.
But thank you.
Larry Danforth.
Good evening, Larry Danforth, 420 Cook Road. In the grand scheme of things, this is about nothing more than quality of life for the most part. I know where each and every one of you live, and if traffic is diverted in Nashville, neither one of you has a big problem trying to get out of your driveway. What you're trying to do here, what he's trying to do here, is going to put a significant burden on the quality of life of everybody on this road. Okay? We start off, last month I talked about it and mentioned the business, and since when I bought my house and when these other people bought their houses, we didn't have any complaints. There were no problems with the industrial park as it was. We knew what we were getting into. Have any of you heard any complaints from anybody on the road about the current industrial park? I'm going to say no, you haven't. We knew what we were getting into. We're okay with that. Keep it like it is. Put some other stuff there. Mr. Carnegie had his meeting the other night, and a good part of what he was saying was addressed to the warehouse on the south side. Okay? What about the stuff on the north side? The amphitheater is a huge deal. Nashville has a town noise ordinance, which Mr. Stocks here mentioned that they're going to comply by. If you're familiar with the town noise ordinance, it's vague at best, almost impossible to enforce. If a law enforcement officer, if I gave somebody a citation for a noise ordinance in town, I can all but assure you that the Nash County District Attorney isn't going to give it the time of day because the court is so burdened now with real crime. We have fentanyl problems. So who's really going to pay attention to it? If we call 911, okay, we get the sheriff's department. So if the sheriff's department has time to show up for a noise call, they show up, sorry, we can't help you. You have to talk to somebody at the Nashville Police Department. We'll never really get represented for anything. That's a problem for each and every one of us. As you look out here, quick show of hands, how many people live on Cook Road? Okay, keep your hands up if you agree. How many of you want this? Look at there. You can't get that percentage of people in Nashville to do nothing. But yet we all come together as community and agree that we value the quality of life that we have. I've heard a lot of people say that Mr. Cornig is a good dude, and I ain't doubting that at all, man. I believe that you have good intentions for the things that you do. But the other night at the ag meeting, when Mr. Cornigi was asked a bunch of questions, he answered them, and you did a great job at answering, but there was one he didn't answer. Somebody asked Mr. Cornigi, would you want this in your backyard? And you paused, and your answer was, I don't know. You knew the answer to everything else except that one. I think I know. I think we all know that you wouldn't want it in your backyard. I'm just saying. In addition to, the noise, he wants to have establishments that serve alcohol. Throughout my law enforcement career, I've been familiar and been aware of hundreds of DWI arrests and prosecutions. Okay? The overwhelming majority of which are leaving places where alcohol is served and going home. Well, when they leave these places where alcohol is being served, where are they going? They ain't passing none of your homes. They're coming past each and every one of ours. It's a good chance they won't even come into Nashville. You have two entrances to Cook Road, one at Old Bailey Highway and one at Old White Oak Road, neither of which is in the city limits of Nashville. And I can all but assure you that if somebody leaves intoxicated, they won't take a chance of driving into town. I'm just saying. Mr. Stocks and I, he's an engineer, I'm not. But I found out tonight that we have something in common. Neither of us know anything about real estate. You say that it may not, that you don't think it's going to interfere with the real estate values. I'm going to disagree. I think it will. Okay? But neither one of us are experts. We just have an opinion. Right? I know my time is probably getting low. Mr. Cornigi uses some of the things about jobs. And then there's a 25-page presentation. He had 31 jobs outlined on there. Okay? Of the 31 jobs, 21 of them were managerial, upper-level managerial. I don't know what kind of outfit he's running here, but you just don't hire upper-level management. So it sounds good on paper that you're going to produce jobs, but what about the low-end jobs? If you drive from one end of Nashville to the other, you'll find a blue million people that are looking help. ACDI out here on Western Avenue is looking help. Clayton Homes is looking help. He lists the value on that 25-page report. It shows how much each of the employees is going to get paid, okay, for upper-level management. But it doesn't address the lower-end people, nor does it address the employees that are going to be on the north side of Cook Road. What are they going to make? It sounds good. It's a good buzzword for politicians to use. I'm going to create jobs. Well, we've got jobs in Nashville that we can't fill. McDonald's will pay you at the end of your shift every day and send you on up the road. How is this going to benefit Nashville? If you approve this, y'all, what you're doing in a sense is you're opening Pandora's box. Each and every one of you took an agreement to look after the citizens of Nashville, and I believe that you're doing your best. And unfortunately, we don't live in Nashville, and I hate it. But I know many of you. Matter of fact, I know most of you. And I hope that you'll do what's right and tell my man he can't have this out here. Because it's really going to constitute, it's going to really hurt our quality of life. And if the quality of life of people on Cook Road is less worthy than the quality of life that the citizens that you represent, then so be it. I appreciate your time.
Thank you. Mike Jones.
Good evening. I'm Mike Jones. I live at 520 Cook Road. I talked to y'all last month. I kind of want to give you a picture of what we have in our community. Picture of a little boy on a bicycle. riding his bicycle, toting a fishing rod, book bag on his back to go to the local pond to fish. Right now, he can go all the way to that pond at the other end of the street, not have any problems, only meet one car. He can come back and only meet one car. Most likely, any of those cars that he meets will be folks that he knows. Go down to what we have now is we have families that walk the street, ride their bicycles up and down the street. At any given time, I can walk the street, and I walk it almost every day during the summer, me and my dog. I can walk that street, and before I even make it past the houses, I've met somebody at the end of their driveway. That is the community we have. We're all friendly enough that we can walk out there, say, how's your day going? Or if I know the gentleman's walking by and he has a tool I need, hey, can I come out here and borrow your tool? We all live on this street that we all know each other. We know the cars that come up and down the street. You might see a car every 3 hours. I can sit on my front porch, sit and have a chit chat with my wife. If any of our neighbors are having a birthday party or a family get together, they're nice enough. We come by, we say, hey, we're gonna have a party. We'll be done by 10 o'clock. Is that okay? None of us have a problem with it. So we have our parties, and that's it. It's done with. You're talking about now something that will not stop. It'll start in the morning, and it'll go all the way 7 days a week. We don't have any, we don't have anything after that. We're welcome to what's out there now because it stops at 5 o'clock, like what Glenn said. So 5 o'clock on, we have our peace and quiet. We can go outside. We can sit on our back porch. We can listen to the coyotes. We can hear the fire trucks in the distance from Nashville PD. We're comfortable the way we are. We don't want the extra traffic from the restaurants, the banquet hall, the distillery, or we don't want the noise from the outdoor entertainment system that they're going to put out there. I'm the third house from the tree line. I'm going to hear every bit of it. And I don't want to hear that at between the hours of 6 to 10 o'clock at night. I work from home. And some of my neighbors, they work 24-hour shifts. They don't want to hear that noise either. So just because we say that, that's every day of the week.
Thank you so much. Mike Edwards.
Good evening. How y'all doing tonight? Mike Edwards. I live at 1284 Cook Road, and we run the poultry farm on 1105 Cook Road. Chicken house has been there since '01, and I've been at the end of Cook Road for 51 years almost. Some of the things like my wife talked about last time, we went, before 13, we were agriculture and residential. In 13, when it went to industrial, after it was the town council and the mayor, y'all voted to change it to industrial, we were agriculture, residential, and industrial. Now, you're throwing in agriculture, residential, commercial, and then agriculture too. I mean, all four of those. So it just ain't in harmony with everything going on. You got so much going on different down there. Another thing, going along with that, like Larry was saying, we don't have a mayor. Us on Cook Road, we don't have a mayor. We don't have a town council. We got a community. That's all we got. We have nothing to stand for. And along with that too, the farmer's market, we do grow produce and we sell produce at our house. There's a farmer's market just started in Nashville, but this will be I reckon the third or fourth year, I reckon. That's been struggling. I mean, he's talking about putting another one out there. I mean, we do run a produce store at our home. We're not open on Friday night to affect the one that's going on in Nashville because we're there. Also, I know we're not talking about the land across the road tonight, but I will just mention this. If I was going to build, I've been in touch with Purdue, if I was going to build a poultry farm beside this produce house, I would have to be 1,000 feet away from it before I could build it. He's 450 feet from it. Why don't he have a setback of what he can do? I've got a setback. I've just got it today. It's 1,000 foot. If I was to build my poultry farm there today, Purdue would not let me, in North Carolina State would not let me do it. But he can build a produce packing house there beside it. And I'm concerned about E. coli and salmonella. And I know he talked about it the other night, and it was a good idea about putting a berm there, but it's still, I don't want to have to go to bed every night concerned about somebody getting sick. And I've been there since 2001. Back when y'all were talking about when you bought this, it was no ways as many houses, all those houses went down there, but I was there. I've been there since the industrial, and I've been there if it does get changed again. So I think that's it. All right, thank y'all. Appreciate
Thank you.
your time.
Is there anybody else that didn't get to sign up that would like to speak? Okay, Trey?
Good evening.
Good
I'm
evening.
Trey Braswell. Spend most of my time at 104 East Cross Street in Nashville. Although it's not where I reside, I do spend more time there than at home. But I live in Nashville in the county on Highway 58. I'm good friends with Will. I'm good friends with a lot of folks in this room. And I am on the board of Right for Revival, which is the nonprofit arm that Will runs, because Will has a heart for feeding people and using agriculture and food as an avenue to feed people and to minister to them. So I want that to be clear. But I'm friends with lots of people in this room. And I can see everybody's perspective on all sides of this thing, because everybody's trying to protect something that's important to them, whether it's Will or Mike or anybody else that's spoken. You know, I am really close to Will, so Will, you know, has shared his heart with me, and I know that Will's got a big vision. He's got an even bigger heart and has a desire to do something great for our community, our state, our county, and for farmers to be able to educate, because education is the biggest thing that we're missing in agriculture, because 97+% of people are 2 generations or more off the farm now. And so I know that this project revolves around that. And, you know, he's taking a big risk. You know, anybody that starts a business is taking a big risk. And he's taking a risk to bring a business to Nashville or Nash County, that those jobs and those dollars currently go to communities in Mexico and other countries outside of the U.S. and certainly outside of North Carolina. And so everybody's in a tough position, and I can understand the risk that Will is willing to take, and I understand Mr. Edwards' concerns about biosecurity. Biosecurity is where we talk about a lot in poultry. We're in the poultry business, and I wake up every morning these days worried that today's going to be our day that we're going to contract the avian flu because it's gotten so rampant. So I understand those concerns. You know, so I understand that everybody has something that they're rightfully concerned about. So, but I will say that, you know, it's not Will's fault that the property is zoned industrial. I also can't exactly agree with the question of, do you want it in your backyard? Because it's easy to find a place to build a house. I'm saying there's more land to build a house than there are places that people are allowed to build businesses. Shh. So it's not like you can just go anywhere and build a business, provide jobs. There's less places that you're allowed to do that. I'm not saying that people should move. I'm saying it's not easy to find a place where you can build a business and provide jobs. There's less land zoned for businesses than there is for residential construction, is what I'm trying to say. I know that Will is the kind of person that would want to find a way to conserve relationships, but I'm in support of everyone here, but I think that it's great that he's trying to do something for the community.
Thank you. There was someone else that wanted to speak. You may come forward.
This is really not my favorite thing to do. I thank y'all for allowing me to speak tonight. I was encouraged.
And your name and your address.
Oh, I'm sorry. Bruce Turner, 484 Cook Road. I live right beside Michael Jones. So my backyard, lot corner is about 200 feet from the wooded line there, so it's not far. I was encouraged at the beginning of the meeting that we prayed. That's important. It's important to me. And I'm telling you right now, the only reason why I won't hear on January 7th, because I was at my church in a prayer meeting. And it is important. I went back and listened to the meeting on the 7th, and I've listened to the applicant on Thursday night. And there's a lot of word about community. And I understand that. I got the community thing. But we're neighbors. That's what Jesus said. We're neighbors. And we're supposed to treat each other as neighbors. Now, I'm all for what he's doing. And I can't help there's not that much property to put it on other than here. That's not the resident's fault that lives out there. It's not our fault. But we are out there. And he can put this somewhere else because it's risking our security. You heard some of the other people here talk about teenagers. We have teenagers out there driving and future teenagers. And they're going to increase the road traffic, no doubt. You're going to risk our privacy out there. I've heard about the noise ordinance, and even in the last meeting, y'all talked about the backup alarms on a garbage truck was annoying people here in Nashville. And you can talk to me about decibels, and you can talk to me about turning the speakers around. It's not going to make any difference 200 feet from the lot. None at all. And you're going to risk the devaluing of our homes. And this is what I said on Thursday night. Here's the truth. There's not one person in this room tonight, not one. I don't care where you're sitting, would want this behind their house. Not one. That means the applicant, that means the stockholders, that means especially the people that live out there, the people that have planned this, you wouldn't want that out behind your house, and neither would y'all. If we are all truthful in this room tonight, you know you wouldn't. So let's not fool ourselves here. This is all about money. It's all about money. And so at the end here, I'm just going to say, do what you think is right. But let the Lord lead you in it to vote.
Thank you. Thank you. Anybody else? Is that everyone?
Mayor and council, we have heard from the public hearing. We just do the official close of the public hearing in a minute. We have provided you on page 57 and 58 the motion tonight, as we always say, before I yield to my seat. 3 ways we can vote tonight. To approve conditional rezoning with the development conditions, vote to disapprove the conditional rezoning, or we can table it till next month. Mayor, I yield to you and council for deliberation.
Mayor, you need to close the hearing.
Oh, I forgot to close. I'm sorry. Is there a motion to close the public hearing?
So made.
Is there a second? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, council, it's now your turn. Do I hear any comments from you, or any motions to be made?
Or questions of anybody, the applicant?
Yeah.
So, for me personally, I hear what everyone is saying. So I think something that that needs to be noted is what was stated tonight is that the residential properties that are around this are county properties. The portion that we're looking to work with is town property. So anything that's done there will increase our tax base, and it will do things to benefit the town. But I hear what you all are saying, and I understand that you don't have a mayor and you don't have council people, you don't have anyone that's advocating for you. And what we're trying to do is create a situation that is beneficial to both the town, but is not detrimental to all of you. So there are items here that I think that we can definitely work with and change and maybe delete. Something that was brought up with the amphitheater. So you talked about the possibility of doing it indoor. Is that something that can still go forward, or is the fact that the amphitheater needs to remain outside? That's one question.
First of all, thank y'all for the opportunity to be here again tonight to discuss this, and thank you everybody for being willing to share your hearts. And just like the meeting the other night, I just want to acknowledge that I hear you and appreciate your willingness to do that. You know, to address the question directly, you know, the amphitheater is one of those projects, as Andrew Stocks mentioned, that we have other stakeholders, corporate stakeholders, who are involved in discussions with that. And so our suggestion would be to, I guess, add the indoor as an option on the list of uses so that we can have those conversations. But tonight, we cannot make that, you know, definitive decision that that would be an alternate scenario without, you know, some other discussions. And you know, as I communicated to our you know, community members on Cook Road in the meeting the other evening, you know, we are committed, you know, whether tonight is a pass or a table or a no, to continue conversations. This is not the end tonight of, you know, what the planning process and what the due diligence looks like for now. And so we are committed to continuing to have dialogue and conversations that would continue to take their interest into consideration. You know, we would not walk out of here tonight if this is approved and not have that in mind. And so I think it's important that I say that publicly, that community is the most important thing we do, you know, as a business. And we've built a business around serving community. And I think our record speaks for itself, that we take other people's interest in mind, but we do have a business to run, and we do have a lot of you know, stakeholders and funding that are tied to very specific details about this project. And so it is a little bit difficult for me to make some of those decisions and to accommodate every single request of every single, you know, member in the community. And so a long-winded way of saying we could consider that, and we would be happy to engage in those conversations, you know, as we plan out, you know, moving forward.
Okay. So another item that I just want to address, because some of the things that came up with the comments in the with the nearby neighbors. So when Sean was first presenting, he showed a list of all the things that could be done in its current industrial zoning. And although the current park exists how it is, which is nice and quiet and has only a couple of companies in there, a company could come tomorrow and, without needing our approval, do the processing facility, the vocational trade, the distillery, the microbrew, the winery, all of those things allowing for seating and individual drinking and even some eating. So as far as concerns go with traffic and safety, those things are going to bring traffic. It's going to bring an alcoholic beverage, and it's things that they can do as of right. Things that they can do that are also on this list that would just need additional standards would be the manufacturing, assembly, processing, and distribution, the animal feed preparation, manufacturing, packaging, and distribution, the retail land use, and the storage of goods. He also went through the list of things that can be done in industrial that seem to be far worse than this, as far as noise, traffic, big tractor trailers, pollution. So I think that just needs to be kept in mind, that if this is denied, it doesn't mean that something very similar or with the concerns that you have couldn't come forward and happen without us even having a say. So my last comment before I shut my mouth, the biosecurity issue that came up. It is definitely a concern that I have, hearing Mike say that you would have to be 1,000 feet from is it the processing facility, or is it from any of these things?
If I was to build it, farm there, I'd have to be 1,000 feet away from residential.
Okay, so I guess I would like to learn more about just biosecurity and what we could potentially be doing if approving this project. What would it do to the chicken houses and their livelihood when that's been there first? So that was there before we even rezoned this to industrial. So my desire would be to table this so that we can get more information. We can look at your drawing a little bit more, see what can be moved where, deleted, and meet with, you know, the farmers and see what it is that we can do to work together to get a project that brings value to not only Nashville but to the community and doesn't do it to the detriment of the community. That's my thought and desire, but that's just me.
Not to be repetitive with what Kate just said, the bio situation brings up a red flag to me also. I understand how the citizens feel out there. I agree with a lot of them, but then I also agree with what Will wants to put out there and try to make work. But I think it's just a little bit too full right now to try to say that all the stuff he's proposing would need to go out there. And I'm myself is trying to take hold of, would it even be successful out there? I hate to be putting up buildings and stuff, and 2 years down the road, we got vacant buildings sitting out there on the road. We got to try to put somebody in that. I think that somewhere down the road that Will can get together again with the citizens here and try to see if we can't, I heard somebody use the term the other day, see if we can chew on this thing a little bit more. All this stuff up here that he proposed, I don't think it would all work. But then again, I'm not the one trying to put this out here. I want to work with Will, and I want to respect the concerns of the citizens out there. But I do not want, and Kate just alluded to, the chicken house was there first before anything, before the houses were even there. I do not want to put a business in business and put another business out of business. That's not where I want to go. I want us to try to table this thing, table it again, and let us chew on this some more, see if we can't get rid of some stuff, move some stuff, and make it where Will can work his project and where the citizens, where the residents can be comfortable with it. So based on that, unless somebody has something else to say.
Yeah, I got a thought, and I agree we should probably do what you just said, but as we do that, my thought is, well, wait, Will. I want to ask you a question, sorry. So my question is, and this I don't need to answer tonight, but I need to answer sometime. You know, we have a, I forget what we call it, the amphitheater at the, what's the park called?
Junction.
No, the other park.
Stony Creek.
Stony Creek. That Stony Creek that's there, that's never used. So, you know, if is there a way we could get a bus and have your people go back and forth to that and use that instead? That's just a thought. And I don't need to answer now, but that's just a thought that comes to mind as we go through this process and try to make everybody a community again. And
Yeah,
so,
I'm happy to answer that right now. You know, I think I appreciate the question. I appreciate the ideas, and I appreciate you expressing your concerns. I mean, I think that they're valid, and you know, the difficulty of navigating these conversations is the reality is that they're not always fun, and that there's a lot of hard things that we're all trying to navigate as a community. I think that you know, the scope of this project, you know, is not necessarily intended just for the town of Nashville. You know, I think there's a lot of corporate partners that we work with where, you know, I would like to convey that this is an opportunity for us to highlight Nashville, Nash County, North Carolina, agriculture, and the industry as a whole, where we're working with partners like Kroger and other retailers who are interested in this as a national destination for buyers to come and have retreats and conferences. And so this is not necessarily just a, local, location for residents to come and enjoy community. This is to really highlight North Carolina agriculture across the country and have a place that's for business and industry to support the North Carolina farmer and the community in the food world. And so to answer your question, and hopefully that maybe clarifies a little bit of your concern about will this work or not. This has been proposed to a lot of partners and other stakeholders who are very excited about the concept. And we're trying to figure out if this is the site where this concept will go. And there's a lot of different parts of this project that different people are interested in, and it's, a lot of moving parts to try and determine how that all flows and works. But because we've got the potential for a scenario where corporate buyers for a big retail chain would come here for a trade show hosted at this campus on this facility, and learn about the farmers that are supplying their stores all over the country, that we've been able to help play a small role in taking their great products to market and even helping North Carolina growers diversify into other commodities that don't currently get grown in North Carolina, because our processing facility and all the intricate moving parts of this campus flow together to create this economies of scale, this integration where everything is there because one thing makes the other better. And so the amphitheater being one of those things where as we host the individuals there, it would be on site where they're able to experience everything right there. And so I do not think that would be an option. I do appreciate the, gesture to mention that, but that's my explanation of kind of where we're at with that.
How often do you anticipate this amphitheater will be used?
This is not as we see it right now, it's a situational use. So it would be for events that are going to be specific to corporate partnerships like that, fundraisers, things of that nature. This is not an amphitheater where every single weekend there's going to be musicians there and concerts. And I can't guarantee that I can tell you exactly what the frequency is right now, but it's not the intent that it's a concert every weekend and we've got, a local band that's coming and playing until 10 o'clock every Friday, Saturday night. It's a special use, facility. And so it'll be based on the demand that we're able to build through the campus.
So your use for the amphitheater is going to be for people that are there, for events for people that are there, not open to the public?
That's the primary function. I can't say that we're not going to have concerts that might be open to the public periodically, but that's not the specific intent. But we do have to cash flow the operation to be able to afford the capital investment and keep stakeholders, engaged. And so
We're talking about a 200-seat amphitheater or a 2,000-seat amphitheater?
it's going to be more than 200 seat. We're
More than
waiting on the site plans to tell us what we can do in the location on the campus where it can be. So, we're asking for approval of the concept, but again, we're going to continue working with Stocks Engineering and other, stakeholders in the community to determine what's possible and what's feasible through a more detailed, plan, which still has to be approved, for use beyond the concept.
Mayor, if I may, Will, the last time we gathered, we tabled with the intent that you would have a discussion, a meeting, which, according to the minutes, you've done on the 30th at the Ag Center. Can you say definitively to us on tonight as a council and to the constituents of Nashville that not only were you able to hear their concerns, but were you able to begin with you and your team, were you able to mitigate some of those concerns? Because one of the things, and I don't want to beat a dead horse, but one of the things that I did hear, I heard the constituents, I heard the citizens who live there, the residents, but I also heard from the farming side of it. And that was a little bit of a concern for me personally. But my concern would be, do you feel like you were able to mitigate and give responses to how you would fit more so in harmony with that, so that the two could be somehow work together, even in a scale-back plan? What's your take on that? What's your team's take on that? Especially relatively to the farming aspect of the chicken house.
Yeah, absolutely. Good question. So, I mean, the meeting was last Thursday, so it's still, relatively fresh. So the amount of time that's passed between the meeting and today has not been an extended period of time to re-engage with any individuals from that meeting at this point, or to, take any deep plans to mitigate. I would say that, our steps have been to really try and pick apart the concerns and ask, how do we try and address these concerns? And I think that, Mr. Stocks has done an incredible job coming prepared to address those concerns. We did spend several hours together yesterday working through the questions, coming up with, or myself providing information about water use and some of the things that consultants have, either consultants or equipment engineers have provided to me as we're planning for this facility. And so I would say we've done everything that we can in the amount of time that has passed between the meeting and now to try and be prepared for this conversation. And I'll reiterate, that a vote yes or no or table tonight, doesn't change that we're still committed to having the conversation. And so I think that is important, and I do think that we will continue to work through what that looks like. I want everyone to consider that we are against a timeline for projects. We do have other stakeholders who are, holding us to a expectation, just as our economic development agreement does, for what they expect from us with this project and what we've agreed to, many of which are, clawbacks in this agreement for the items that we have to put in, as we've stated we will. And so, the grant that we have from the state, significant grant towards this project for the processing facility, there's a lot of items that, we have to make decisions for ourselves too if it gets tabled or not passed. And I hope that doesn't come across the wrong way. That's just the reality of where we're at. We have to make decisions for this project based on, what we can. And so we're having to navigate that. We do care, and we're trying to determine, what the best path forward is from here.
Thank you for your response, and certainly thank you. When we concluded the last meeting, we asked that you would meet with the constituents, and thank you for being gracious enough to do that. And I agree, the time frame from last Thursday to tonight, there again, I think that's probably why my council member Kate Burns has suggested that we may need to table that and do further investigations so that we can have due diligence to make sure that we're serving the citizens, even those out on Cook Road in the county, serve them well as serving you well as well. That's our job. That's what we've been elected to do. And so thank you so very much.
Thank you.
Okay, do I hear a motion?
I make a motion that we table this to gather more information and make a decision in the future.
I second.
All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
We will table it and
May I
work
ask
on it.
a question? Is there anything specifically that you're asking us to do before the next meeting, as you've tabled?
Is there any way to have a meeting? I guess, probably not.
While you're getting your thoughts together, if I may, Mayor. Specifically to your question, Will, I'm also concerned directly or more specifically about the response to the farming part of it. I know that Mike Edwards has stated that if he was to do a chicken house, he would need 1,000 feet away. Your state regulations may be different for what you want to do, and that was kind of my direct question to you. And while Thursday to Tuesday may not have given you and your team enough response time to be adequate in responding to us, I would that you would go back and that would be one of the pieces or one of the nuggets that you would specifically speak to, because that is a concern for us as a council, as a town.
If I may, but if I'm not mistaken, the facility is approved as it's zoned industrial now, so we're referencing the northern part of the parcel and the non-industrial uses. So, we do have
Right.
consultants that are working with us on this facility, but our industry is regulated much differently than the poultry industry. And so I just want to understand, make sure I understand the question right. So am I being asked to provide documentation about a produce processing facility beside a poultry farm in relation to getting the rezoning request across the street approved, or is that a separate, matter?
My question is, so not apples and oranges. His is pertaining to the chicken house. Yours pertains to produce. And I just want to know in that response, what is it that you plan to do, your team specifically, to help mitigate what could be a potential problem for them as they move forward with their farming business? Because I feel like you are a person who has the commitment to do what you're doing. I know the work that you do in the community, but with that being stated and said, I would like to make sure that you have a response that mitigates or speaks directly to that response from your perspective.
Okay.
I'm not asking you to do it from a chicken house. I'm asking you to do it from your perspective as a produce, as a whatever your plan XYZ is. That's what I'm looking for.
Understood.
If there's anything specific in the meantime. Mayor, if I may. The bottom portion, the south side of this property is not part of this rezone, correct? Because he can do this as of right with that. So I guess my concerns have to do with the north side of this property. And my concerns are how the aquaculture, the educational center, the roadway that goes there, the increase in traffic and trucks and things like that could potentially have some biosecurity issues with the poultry house. So I would like to know how we can mitigate on the north side of the property any potential issues. Maybe we move things a little bit farther away, maybe we reorder things so that we can make it the least risk for the poultry house that's right there. As far as noise and things like that, I still understand that when this is zoned industrial, when things are zoned industrial, generally that is to give a place for intensive business services that might adversely affect nearby properties. And so a lot of the things on this list would be harmful to the community that you all are so fond of. So in my opinion, getting something together with you and Ripe Revival in making this what it could potentially be is a better alternative than the other industrial things that are on that list. But at the same time, noise pollution, light pollution, any sort of buffers that we can put up on either residential properties or on the property that you're going to have, things that will mitigate noise and any sort of light pollution that might happen. So those are my main concerns that I'd like to see addressed.
Understood.
Thank you, Will.
Thank y'all.
The next item on our agenda is
I gotta make a motion.
I made the motion and then no one seconded it?
Did Larry second?
I second it.
Okay, all those in favor, let me know by saying aye.
Aye.
The next item on our agenda is the K-9 retirement.
Good evening, council.
Good evening.
So we wanted to do it last council meeting, but we had the snow, so I wanted to bring it back tonight. We have a K-9 that will be 8 years old in October, but in the last 2 years, this K-9 has been through a lot of issues. He got bit in the line of duty by another dog. He recovered from that, but now he has got hip dysplasia. The dog has trouble riding in the box in the car, and it is hurting his hips to the point of where he cannot work. And I want to speak on this dog. He's the best officer we've ever had and probably the best town employee we've ever had. And I have a reason to say this. He gets so excited when he makes a drug bust, he apprehends somebody, that he passes out. He gets so excited that he's done such a good job that when he's awarded his toy, he passes out. And I think that's outstanding for an employee. But there again, I would like to retire him. We also would salaries with the, being able to do BLET like we have with the new hires. We have some extra money in the salary line item. I would like to also tonight after we retire, Rizzo for $1, and I'm going to pay the $1 to the town for the dog. So Stallings, his family can have the dog from here out. He's been with Grant. They've got a bond. So I would like to pay the $1 for the dog to retire. Then look at doing a lab through the same system. It will be a dog that can do tracking and it can do sniffing, but it also does the public side for us. The schools, runs off collars and does everything of that nature. So that's what I want to do, but I have money in the salaries where we've done BLET this year, and we've saved money doing that, so that way we can do a purchase of a dog for that. But first and foremost, I'd like to retire him from duty.
Do I hear a motion that we retire that sweet dog?
Move to retire Rizzo and give him and reward him to his officer handler, based on the payment of $1 that will be paid by the chief.
Second.
All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank y'all.
And if you don't pay the $1, chief, I'll do it.
The next item on our agenda is the Red Oak Road rezoning.
Sean, can we close the doors, please?
Yeah.
Oh, they have another meeting.
They couldn't stay in here with us.
They ain't got wheels hemmed up out there, have they?
I need to check. We need to go to check.
You might want to send somebody out there to check.
No, they won't.
Once again, thank you, Mayor, for allowing me to come back up, and I have a hard task to come behind Rizzo, who's done an outstanding job for the town as our service dog. Our next item we have on our agenda is the rezoning for the Red Oak property off of Red Oak. This property is 7.3 acres of vacant property owned by 3MR Limited Partnership within the town's ETJ limit along the Red Oak Road near the US 64 interchange, known as parcel 0038984. Be rezoned from A1 to B1. If we turn over for past application to our agenda report, as we always state, for the record, we know that you as councilors have done your due diligence, read through everything. If you look at this property, the applicant is Jason Brand out of UNC Medical Center that's asking for this rezoning. To the north of the property is A1. To the south is A1. Half of that south property is in the town's ETJ. Other half falls under the Nash County zoning jurisdiction. To the east is A1. Of course, to the west, heading back towards town is A1, O&I, B1. That's the Wendy's, the Domino's, all those areas out there. The existing zoning is A1. The proposed zoning is B1. The B1 zoning district is defined as a certain commercial area which provides a wide selection of convenience and comparison shopping centers, furniture showrooms, and for personal service and orderly arrangement, retail facilities, parking, and other amenities. This district is constantly located at the intersection for one and more highway and long thoroughfares. This district may also provide retailing, personal service for the benefit of residents in nearby areas and non-residents, include our certain functions such as warehousing, other compatible primary uses. Of course, in our comp plan, they have this area slated for our future growth as highway services. A highway service to preferred uses are retail, professional services, restaurants, office, and hotels. Consideration for highway service are located in close proximity to the entrance into the town and should reflect a positive image of the town. Architectural features, vegetation planting should be used to prevent blank leaks of building facades. Despite facility size, building entrance and features should be pedestrian oriented. Parking located in front of the facility should be minimized to the extent possible. When we look at our B1 zoning district, this is allowed by section 18111J in O1B1 of what they were asking for. But if you look at all the uses, that's the key thing we have to look at tonight. All the uses, because we're looking at zoning and not contract zoning. All the uses in B1 that can be allowed in that zoning district is museum, meeting facility, conference center, place of worship, theater, indoor, theater, outdoor through a special use permit by the Board of Adjustment granted, bus passenger shelter, motor vehicle maintenance, repair, sales and rentals, postal and parcel delivery, convenience store, transportation terminals, passenger only, a library, elementary, middle, high school, performing arts, sports recreation, vocational trade school, ABC store, microbrewery, printing, research facility without manufacturing services, a hospital, a veterinary clinic, a veterinary hospital, building trade contractor office, a golf course, a golf driving range, paintball, airsoft, parks, recreation facilities, indoor and outdoor racetrack, a racetrack through a special use permit, health personal care facility, body arts, car wash, eating and drinking establishments, a garden center, kennels, massage business, short-term rentals, non-host, occupied, telecommunication facilities, co-host occupied, that's our word, cell towers that we just talked about in the previous rezoning, elevated water storage tower, solar facilities, utilities, public, major, and wholesale trade uses. If you turn over to page 76, description of the subject property. Subject property is 7.3 acres undeveloped tract land owned by 3MR Limited Partnership, has road frontage off Red Oak Road in Nashville. Primarily, the agricultural zoning is what it is now. It's within the town of Nashville's ETJ. You can see the picture below. If we turn to page 77, that's the future land use map that you have before you. You can see our future land use map does designate this as highway services. If you go to page 78 in your packet, we attached a soil map because this property is not served right now by town water and town sewer. So the applicant, when they do decide to develop it, would have to use soil, will have to use a private septic system, and they will have to make sure the soil perks. The town does not get involved with that, but what the town would ensure is that the applicant does meet all the requirements of National Environmental Health with Mr. Eric Kittrell to ensure that the perk test is correct and that they can't have a private wastewater septic system there. Our project history for this is on page 78. UNC Medical Center is the applicant requested to rezone at the above said location. The rezone application was received on December 3rd, 2024. Currently, the town does not have water and sewer service provided at that current location. The developer will utilize a private well water system at the present moment for the site. The developer will also utilize a private on-site septic system for the development of this site. Kim Moore, our district engineer, Division 4, District Number 2, North Carolina Department of Transportation, informed the town of Nashville that no traffic study report was needed for this type of project. Public hearing notice letters were mailed out to approximately 23 property owners within a 500-foot radius on December 30th, 2024. Public hearing notice was posted on the town's website on December 30th, 2024. The rezoning sign was posted on the property also on December 30th, 2024. Legal notices were advertised in the Nashville Graphic on January 16th, 23rd, 30th. For the planning board and the town council public hearing sessions what we're having this evening. Front door to town hall was posted on January 9th. Same thing for the Harold D. Cooley Library and our Parks and Recreation Center. Such property is not located within the floodplain. Such property is located in Stony Creek Watershed, Upper Stony Creek Subwatershed. If you turn over to page 79, the subject property is not located within the NCDEQ water supply watershed. The town of Nashville future land use map has existing property classified as highway service, as we stated earlier. The town of Nashville Planning Board held a rezoning request of this property on January 28, 2025 in a public hearing format. During the public hearing format, they only had one person come to speak opposed of the development for rezoning of this property, Mr. Al Joyner, who is the property owner of 644 Red Oak Road. He did speak to the entire area, to the planning board, that he was opposed to the rezoning. His intent was he wanted the neighboring properties in the entire area to stay zone agricultural. We decided to put that in just for the record and also to reflect the record of the minutes. A motion was made by planning board member that evening, Mr. Dennis Evans, to approve the rezoning request with a second by board member Ross Strickland. The motion passed 4-0 unanimously. Board member Walter Harper that evening did recuse himself from the vote since he is an employee of UNC Medical Center. We decided also to put that in your packet also for the reflection of the minutes. Reasonableness and spot zoning for this rezoning request 2025-01 is not considered reasonable and in the public interest because it may be considered reasonable in the public interest because the request is not spot zoning as the subject property will be rezoned for agricultural use and development for commercial use. Our future land use map has its proper stated development of such which is being designated as highway service. The town of Nashville B1 zoning district is the most intense for these types of use. The subject property is in harmony with the request as the property has road frontage off Red Oak Road and adjacent to Highway 64 east and west. Of course, as we always state to the council, our TRC team has not met. The applicant is waiting to see if the rezoning process will be approved. If so, the applicant will be submitting an engineer scale site plan for the technical review committee to review. Our planning board recommendation that evening, they did recommend rezoning, and we will say staff recommendations till after the public hearing format. Mayor, we do have members of the UNC medical team here. with us this evening who will be glad to come up, speak to you of their rezoning request. We can hear from them, Mayor, and then we can go into our public hearing format to see if anybody from the town would like to speak. Mayor, I yield to you and the council as always.
Okay.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, members of the Town Council. Happy to be here tonight, and certainly thank you for your patience on a packed agenda night. My name is Laura Holloman. I'm with McAdams. I'm the project planner for this rezoning, representing UNC. Joining me tonight also is Erin Bolduc with UNC, or excuse me, with DCI. She's the project manager, and also, as staff mentioned, Jason Brand with UNC joining me behind me. I'll be brief since staff has done a wonderful job and the hour is late. The current, as we mentioned, as staff mentioned, the property is 7.3 acres. It's part of a larger parcel that encompasses both sides of Red Oak Road. We're only requesting to do a portion on the western side of Red Oak Road. The current zoning is agricultural, but as staff mentioned, you all have a wonderful comprehensive plan that you adopted not that long ago, back in 2021, and as part of that, this parcel is designated as highway services. That allows for commercial uses like a medical facility to be developed for this, and you want that along your prominent interchanges in town. This has great visibility and sets up well to allow for other personal services like UNC Health. And if we could, the concept plan. Wow, it's like you read my mind. If the rezoning were to get approved, this concept plan would continue to be refined, as staff mentioned, through the review for the TRC review process. But I just wanted to show you how it could lay out. This shows a 20,000 square foot building, concentrating the developed area closest to the road. And we think it lays out well because it also allows for a sizable buffer in the rear that allows for a buffer towards some more environmental features that are off-site. We don't, as staff mentioned, there's not any floodplain on-site, but there are some floodplain off-site, and that allows for a sizable buffer along the rear of the property. We did not have to do a traffic study, as staff mentioned. We did go ahead and do a traffic study. That was done in October of 2024. The only thing that came out of that is they recommended a northbound left turn lane with 100 feet of storage and an eastbound right turn lane along the site driveway with 50 feet of storage. So those are the recommended improvements. But other than that, they felt that the 20,000 medical facility, the 20,000 square foot, there were no further recommendations for the traffic study. But we did that because we wanted to be good neighbors and good stewards to the town and make sure that this was in keeping with the surrounding properties. In terms of UNC, I'll let Jason offer any commentary that I forget or get wrong if you have any further questions. But our intent, if this rezoning is approved and we're successful as we move through the site plan, to open by next summer. UNC has planned 8 physicians and primary care providers lined up that are eager and willing to be a part of the community, and we're excited to bring this to you. So at this time, I'll open it up for any questions that you all may have. Thank you.
Any questions? I think you explained it great. So.
Well, between us and Mr. Lucas, thank you.
Thank you so much. At this time, do I hear a motion that we go into public hearing?
So move.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Is there anyone here that would like to speak to this, this land? If not, do I hear a motion that we come out of public hearing?
So move.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Mayor, once again, we will just reiterate for the record and for the benefit of the minutes this evening that the planning board did recommend approval of this rezoning request. I, as staff, also will recommend approval since the developer has met the requirements for rezoning and the subject property has proven that it will not be classified as a spot zoning amendment. I recommend approving this rezoning for agriculture 1 to business 1 since the town of Nashville future land use map has a property slated for highway service. Mayor will yield to you and the council for deliberation, discussion, and voting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do I hear a motion to approve, or to approve the rezoning request for this ordinance 205-04?
So move.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
It is approved. Thank you. The next item on our agenda is the zoning board text amendment. And we have Sean again.
He didn't pull that chair up.
I told you we should have had that chair at the beginning of the meeting, Councilman Long. Once again, thank you, Mayor and Council. This evening before you, we have the planning board text amendment to add duties to our Town of Nashville Chapter 18 land use. We have duties for all our advisory boards in the general ordinance, except our planning board. And Town Manager kind of noticed this when we were kind of overhauling the zoning ordinance with Mr. Harvey from In Focus, that we did not have no type of duties for the planning board. So what you have before you is the duties of what the planning board would be. I myself recommend that this would be great to add to our ordinance, because some people may just want to know what the planning board duties are or their role in the town. If you look at all the different boards, the Board of Adjustment, they have their roles in there, our tree board, our Parks and Recreation board, our downtown municipal strong board, all in there. So in this packet right here, you have a brief synopsis of what we will be adding called Section 18248, Planning Board Appointment and Terms, Division 10, the Planning Board, and then we'll just go through everything as far as what the Planning Board, their meeting schedule, the duties of the chairman and the vice chair and chair, the duties of the secretary to the board, and also the duty of the planning boards as a member, what we will require you to be doing as a diligent member working on the Town of Nashville Planning Board. Mayor, the planning board did make a recommendation to approve this, wrote a statement of consistency that evening to bring the town council thinking that this was warranted to be added to our Town of Nashville general ordinance. Mayor, I yield to you and the council for public hearing.
Do I hear a motion to open the public hearing to amend in this chapter 18 of the town code to include the planning board's duties?
Move to approve.
Second.
All those in favor, we've got to have our public hearing. And do I hear a second for the public hearing?
Second.
All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak to this? If not, do I hear a motion to close the public hearing?
Second.
All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Do I hear a motion to approve ordinance 2025-06 to approve these duties for the planning board?
Well, Mayor, I don't think I have it. I'd like to read it. I don't think I have it.
Page 112.
112?
112 is the ordinance, also the start of the duties.
Okay, I do have it. Okay, I'm sorry. I was looking for it beyond the.
Yes, sir, that's no problem,
I
Councilman.
got it.
Do I hear a motion to approve?
So move.
Second. All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, it is approved. The next item on our agenda is joint meeting with the Downtown Nashville Advisory Board.
So Mayor and Council, at the last Downtown Nashville Advisory Board meeting, the advisory board members asked if the town council would have a joint meeting with them on February 24th at 5 p.m. to discuss some concerns that the advisory board has and to also discuss with the council its efforts going forward for 2025.
Any discussion from the council or a motion that, well, really just an agreement that we'd have a joint meeting with them?
Yeah, I agree that we should have a joint meeting. Whether that date works for everybody, I don't know. I think it could be helpful to address, I think, what the board here has noticed, just a lack of information when we get things from the MSD board. I think they spend a lot of time deliberating and having reasons for their decision, and what we get presented to us is just a one line, this is the preference or this is what they'd like to do. So I think it would be helpful to discuss how things have gone in the past, getting more information for the future, maybe going through some of the plans that have been created for the MSD and the downtown area. We've had, gosh, like 3 or 4 plans that professionals have put together on things that we could do to help with economic development and revitalization and beautification, just so maybe we can have a plan for 2025 as far as moving forward with some of those items.
Do all of the council agree for a joint meeting?
I'd like to take it one step further. I'd like for us to do all planning, all departments, what do you call them, planning, the rest of
Advisory
them,
boards?
once a year, and have a meeting for all of us on our time. I mean, on our date. We maybe come an hour early or something, and have a meeting with all of them. But I agree with what you're saying. But I think we need to have one with all of them, not every month.
No, I mean, I think it's helpful too, for people who are new to these boards and then people who are new to the council to understand what they are in charge of, what the expectations are, how they do things, and the same for us.
Does everybody agree to a joint meeting on the, what is it, the February the 24th, 2025 at 5:15? Where are they meeting? Here, okay. Everybody agree?
One question, Mayor, before you go there. That's February the 24th?
Yeah.
At 5:15?
Yes.
Lou, what would be our mid-month meeting date? Because I know we would be on a Wednesday.
That's the 19th during the day.
19th during the day, okay.
Okay, then we will be willing to meet with them. The next item on our agenda is a budget amendment.
It's at 5:15.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I'm before you to present budget amendment number 14, which is the inter-department transfer for $17,000 to professional services to cover the cost to remodel / image all the workstations at HD Cooley Library by VC3. So we're basically moving money from one line to the other, but because it was more than $5,000, we needed to bring it before you guys.
Do I hear a motion to approve budget amendment number 14?
So move.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Teresa. Okay, do I hear a motion that we go into closed session?
Mayor, I move we hold closed session per NCGS 143-318.11. Claim/administrative procedure per NCGS 318.11 to receive a report on the location or expansion of industries